We started with low fidelity wireframe, then high fidelity wireframe, and in this tutorial, we're going to be doing this. Get a little bit more creative and do this, or maybe this. Yeah. Oh, hold up. Finally. Oh, yes, this. Okay, let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. In this episode, we are going to be discussing colors and contrast, and we're actually going to be applying the colors and contrast to our high fidelity wireframe from the last video. So if you haven't seen the last video, please do so and create the high fidelity wireframe, because in this video we are moving forward. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so now and hit the notification button so you can be notified whenever I upload new videos. So let's start with the definition of color. Now, everyone likes color, but of course, don't tell her to this girl, she doesn't. So Google defined color as a property possessed by an object of producing different sensations on the eye as a result of the way it reflects or it emits light. A good example given was that the light flickered and changed color. Now, if you look at the diagram I drew down here, this is our color. What they're trying to say is that colors change based on light shined on a particular object. So by default, we have shade, and then we have light. We have our color in the middle. So the amount of light and shade present in a color will determine the vibrance of the particular color. So if you bounce more light to the color, it becomes very light. If you bounce more shade to the color, it becomes very dark, and so on and so on. You get to see different aspects of color based on light and shade. So what are the categories of color? We have the primary colors, we have the secondary colors, and then we have the tertiary colors. And we all know primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in terms of definition, but how do they apply in real world? So if you look at this diagram here, we have yellow, then we have blue down here, we have red with this P and P and P, which means primary. But then what they are trying to say in this diagram is that when you combine this blue here and this yellow, you get a secondary color of green. So when you mix yellow plus blue, you get green. And the same thing happens when you mix yellow plus green, you get the tertiary color yellow green. So this is exactly how it applies in the real world. You can study the diagram to learn more about how you can mix colors to get certain colors. So we also have what they call neutrals. Like I said earlier, I called it shade and light. It's the same thing as black and white, and they are very important when it comes to deriving at a particular color. So we have CMYK. For those who are into painting and printing, you understand how important it is when people mixed colors based on cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. But our focus isn't really about that now. So the next thing is the RGB, red, green, blue. This is another way you get colors, and these are common when using computers, televisions, or our digital cameras. You mostly see things on RGB. Now, this is our friend X. It is the short form for hexadecimal code. So in this case, we use these codes to identify colors in web design. So it starts with the hash mark, and it consists 3 pairs of characters sequenced together, totally 6 characters. There are a lot you can say about hexadecimal codes and how it works, but then you might not really understand how it works until it is practicalized. So when we get to the practical aspect, you really understand that. Now, how do you apply color? There's this rule called 60-30-10, and it's a safe way of applying color. If you are just starting out, you might want to keep that rule in your head, but then after some time, it is all about experience and the tools available for you to pick colors. So 60-30-10 means your major color, maybe the brand color. Let's say, for example, blue is the brand color. You mostly use it around 60% of the time in your design. So it comes up more frequent than every other color. Apart from the brand color, maybe then you have a secondary color to back it up. That has to come as 30%. So within the design, you have some colors that also pop up, but not as much as the major color, which is 60%. Then finally, if there's a need to have an additional color, that is when the 10% comes in. But then you won't really see it often. You'll just see it at the back or somewhere hiding, within the shadow. So that is how you apply 60, 30, 10. It is more of a practical thing to do than theory. So I would recommend that you practicalize that very well. So what is color harmony? Now, color harmony is a situation where you use series of colors in such a way that colors become happy with each other and they are able to play with each other. Now, think about having a vibrant blue as background, then you have also a vibrant red as text on top of it. How does that look? It's horrific, right? So that is not harmony. Now, harmony is when you actually use colors that play with each other well. That's color combination. And there are these terms to mean how you can actually achieve color harmony. One of them is analogous, then we have monochromatic, triad, and so on. But then let me show you exactly how this is done. We have these color generating tools. One of them is this website called colors.co. It's one of my favorite websites for generating colors. And then we also have Adobe Color. This is very, very, very nice. What all these color generating tool does is to give you color harmonies. Now, color harmony is such a way that whatever color you mix together, it works in your design and your design looks superb. So how do you do that? If you come to where we have more and then you go to generate method, you have all these monochromatic analogous as said earlier. So you can select any from there, but then this is a pro version now. You can only generate auto on colors.co now. It's no more free. You now have to upgrade to pro version. So let's say auto, for example. How do you generate? If you press space, it's changed color. But then if you see a particular color that you like, say maybe you like this red, you click on the lock, and if you continue to press space, it locks the red and then generate colors that suits the red. So let's say I like this again, I want something lighter. I can just lock it and then continue pressing space till I get other colors that I like, then the colors that I like, then finally the colors that I like. If I think any of these colors are too dark or too light, I can come to where we have the shades here and then select a darker or lighter shade. Look at that, it's so nice. So now the same thing with Adobe Colors, but let's start by explaining some certain things here, like the color harmony rule. Let us start with monochromatic. Monochromatic means deriving colors from one particular color. So now mono means one, chrome means color, then tic, basic semantics. So so monochromatic means one color. So what that means basically is that you get this one color, then you derive other colors from it. So let's select monochromatic, and let's say we choose this first one as our base color. We set this as base color. Look at that, it gives us different colors of this. If you click and hold within this palette, you can move around and see what it looks like when you get to the other side of the palette. You can also play with the RGB values here by adding more light to your colors by changing what they look like. You can add light and shades down here. Okay, look at that, starting to make sense. So now this is my base color, but then I have different shades of this base color. I have a lighter one, I have a darker one, and even much darker one, and something more brownish. So this is how to derive getting monochromatic colors, and it works. A good example of where I applied colors using monochromatic scheme is this design here. If you look closely, we only have green as the major color, but then we have shades of green. Now this is a monochromatic way of applying color. So look at the green, look at the differences in the lights and shade. If you scroll, you get to see how I applied them, and you would notice I'm not applying just too much color everywhere. This is a very nice way to play safe when you're applying colors. You don't just apply colors everywhere. Another one is analogous. This one gives you colors based on the next colors in the color palette. As you can see, these are our base color. So this is the next color to it, the next color, and the next color. So it's more analogous, and trust me, it works when you apply them appropriately. Then we have complementary color. This is another one that is very interesting. If you set this as your base color, at the end of this particular color on the same line in the palette, it gives you a direct complementary color, and it is nice. But you need to be very careful here. If you don't know how to apply colors appropriately, you will get this wrong. Then we have all of them here. You can experiment on your own, but we know enough to actually apply amazing colors. That said, let's go into applying colors to our design. Now back to our previous design. I just want you to duplicate this wireframe by pressing Ctrl D. Now we can have a copy of the wireframe and then start working our colors on this new wireframe. So let's rename this design. Alright, so one of the first thing I would like to do is to select the navigation bar. I think the height is a little bit too much, so I want to reduce that to 98. Alright, cool. Then because it's grouped, we can see down here all the colors within it. The black text is 000, and then the background is D9, D9, D9. Now, when they talk of hexadecimal values, this is what we are talking about. Now, if I want to change the black text here, I can easily move around my color here. Now, as you see, as I'm moving around, it's changing the color within this color palette. Now, isn't that interesting how fun it is? But then at the same time, you can set your colors from here. You can select any of the primary, tertiary, or secondary colors. You can move your color anywhere there. This is the transparency for the color. You can see as I'm reducing this, it's fading away. The color keeps fading away on the text. Let me turn that back to 100. Now look at that. Look how interesting that is. So if you come down to where we have this X, of course you can see the numbers that we call the X. If we change these numbers, it will automatically change the color. So I'm just going to change it to this 2411B and press enter. Look at that. It changed my color to this black. If I click the arrow where we have X, you can see RGB, CSS, and other values. These are ways to select color. You choose RGB, for example, you see the red, green, blue, and you can change the values there. It will change. But then X is a good way to always get your colors. Now, one important thing. Now, listen carefully. When you're applying colors to your text, if you are using a black text, you don't want to make your color too black. You don't want to move it down right to 000. No, it's not professional. It's not good, and it's not too good on the eyes. So you want to move it to something around here. Okay, that's good. You can see it's still black. Nothing changed about it, but just not too black. Now that we have that, I'm just going to cancel that. Then I'm going to change the color of my navigation to white. So I'll come down to where we have this D9, D9, and change it to FFF. Cool. Now we have white background and black text. What you can do again is to save your color so you don't have to be re-entering the keys again. So you come to where we have this style, click on it, click on this plus sign, and add, just rename the color what you want. This is black, so I'm going to say black text, for example. Create style. Yeah, black text. Now for the white, you can just come here and say plus and say white. Okay, good. So the next time I want to change color, I'll just go and select black text. Now look at it. If I select the name here, I can go to where we have color, click on the 4 dots and select my black text. That's easy as that. So let me just select this and also select the button and change it to black text. Where is it? Okay, where we have this 00, change this to black text. And if it's an individual item as well, when you click on this, look at it, we already have black text. But let's say you want to change the color, you click on this detach style, and then you can always click on this to change the color, or just enter the hexadecimal code here. But then we already have black, so we use black. Now I'm going to change the background color of this button to white. The D9, I'm going to change that to white. Now we have it as white. Now that we've done that, you can't really see the white button and you can't really see the white navigation because everything is outrightly white. So what I'm going to do is to select the frame and give the entire background a color. I already have this color in mind, and when I come to my fill here and then I had the X code here, press enter, look at that, look at what it brings. Now you can now see our nav clearly. You can see our button clearly as well. Now I'm also going to reduce the height of the button to 72 so that it won't be too big. All right, good. Also, before we proceed, I would like us to quickly talk on contrast. So what is contrast? Contrast basically is the difference between two colors. In design, you need to be able to separate one color from the other. If not, it won't look so nice. For example, if I were to change the color of this button background to maybe something else, by the way, when you select the group object, you can always go to that particular object within if you don't want to select them together. So I'm selecting the rectangle that I used as background now from the layers. So it's white. Let me break that down and then change it to something close to black. Now look at that. Let's say, for example, I like this color, but how clear really is the view portfolio on this background? It's not so clear. If you are far away, you can't even see it very clearly. And now this is a bad contrast. If you want to achieve good contrast, you need to set something like white instead of this gray color. Now, how can you check contrast for a particular color or for two colors? If you come back to our Adobe Colors, they have these accessibility tools. When you click on it, you can see contrast checker. Now, the contrast checker here, you have two colors. We have the background color here and then the actual text color. This is what we have down here, and then we have a validation to say whether or not we pass or we fail. So which means if you are using this background color and then you are using some small text of white here, it's a failure because it won't work. But then if you are using a bigger text on this background, which is this color, then the text is white, yeah, it is good. But what we can do is to make this deeper. When we make this deeper, look at that, it automatically makes this pass because now we can see the white clearer on it. That makes it better. The contrast ratio is showing on the side and there's this check mark to say, okay, this is good. Now we'll take our own colors and check the contrast ratio. Now I'm going to select the text. The black text is this color, which I'll copy, Ctrl C, then come here, Ctrl A, Ctrl V, enter, then go back and check for the background color, Ctrl C, come back here, Ctrl A, Ctrl V, enter. Now look at that, it's saying pass, pass, pass. So if we are using it as graphic components, yes, it's good. If we are using it as large text, it's good. If we are using it as small text, it's equally good. Look at the contrast ratio now. It's up to 8.41 and that's very good. So this is how you set contrast and you ensure that your designs are very nice. So let's go back to our design. Now that we have this, I'm going to continue by setting these icons. Now remember we said we are going to have an icon to represent the tools that we use. So for example, the sketch, the Adobe XD and Figma icon, they are coming down here. So by default, you already see the kind of tools that we use. Now I've already downloaded these icons, so I'm just going to paste them here. I will leave a link in the description for you to be able to download these same icons. Now, before I proceed with my icons, I would like to quickly add some effects to this button to make it a little bit more interesting. So select the button, actually select the background, the rectangle within the layers here, and then come down to where we have effect. Click on effect. We have drop shadow, we have inner shadow, layer blur, background blur. But currently, let's work with drop shadow. So you select drop shadow, click on this effect settings icon by the left. Now we have the y-axis, the x-axis. Already you can see the button has this background, but then use the y-axis and the x-axis to control the height and then the left and right of the shadow. So now you want to make the y 6, the blur I want it 12. Okay, then I don't really want a complete black, I want more like our black text. And then finally I want this 20% instead of 25. So now if you look at our button, it's looking more like something you can actually click. Now with that done, I also want to apply the same drop shadow on the icons background. So I'm just going to select one of these. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to delete the icon within. I think I should make this a little bit more of 16 height. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to change the color to white. Then I'm going to select this first button again, select the background, the rectangle. I'm going to right click, go to copy / paste as. I'm going to select copy properties, which is the same thing as option command C, that's alt control C on PC. Now I'm going to come down to where we have this icon background, right click again, and then go to copy / paste as and paste properties. Now we have that is nice. So I'm just going to copy one of my icons now you want to ensure that you right click on your icons and give it a frame, then change the frame to 40 by 40, that's 40 width, 40 height, so that you can easily place it on the white background. Now I've done mine already. I'm going to select the first one, which is the XD. I'm going to place it here, right here. Yeah, I'm going to select the background and the XD and try to centralize things, align stuff to the middle. Now I can press Ctrl G and rename this XD. Okay, now with that I can say Ctrl C, select these two other icons and use copy and replace by holding Shift, Option, Command, and then I'll press V. On PC, that is Shift, Alt, Control, and then you press V. Now that we have these aligned, 1, 2, 3, you are going to select your sketch, Ctrl C or Ctrl X, whichever one you like. You need to click inside this XD frame. Now with this selected, you want to use copy and replace again because you've already copied the sketch icon. So you are going to hold Shift, Option, Command, then V. Look at that, how sweet is that? Select it and rename it to sketch. Now finally you do the same thing for Figma, which is what we are using to build this design. Now you select the icon here, Shift, Option, Command, V. Now try to centralize things to the middle. Select the Figma icon and then just press this to centralize vertical and horizontal. Okay, cool. Look at that. Very nice. Now I'm just going to zoom out, and now one more thing I want to do with the navigation bar is to set some spacing between these texts. Now the reason why I want to set spacing to it is because when you consider viewing the design on a tablet, you go to the website on a tablet and use your index finger to click on any of the navigation text. You don't want a situation whereby one text is close to another and they can mistakenly click one text instead of the other. So I'm going to select this and then I'm going to change from 32. Let's give you something like 48. Now you can move it back to the margin. Cool. Now finally we are going to have our image. I'm going to press Shift Command K and then select. I already have this image downloaded, and I have also worked on this particular image, so I'm going to leave it in the description below. I got it from unsplash.com, so look into the description below and then download this image. First of all, I'm going to delete this off here, try to place it there. Now I'm going to, I think it's looking nice already, but I want the width around 960. Let's see. Okay, cool. And then yeah, something like this. Yeah, I think this is absolutely very nice. Now we have our design, we are done, and this came out very nice. So I'm just going to select the frame, going to click on the presentation here to play. Now look at that, look at what we have. So this is your portfolio. I know this is my name, but this is not me. But then, this is how exactly I'm going to add my own image to my portfolio too. But then, like I said, you can always get creative. You can add stuff. You can remove the background of the navigation and make your navigation fonts more bold. You can also add some things like this UI designer, add some more background to your subject using more rectangles. I believe you can do stuff like this. So I'm going to show you how to export this now, and you are going to upload on your Instagram and Twitter and show me what you did so I can make comments on that. So my Instagram and Twitter is Habib_Adetokun. So basically my name and my last name with underscore in between the two. So let me see what you have done. But first, let us export this. To export this, I'm just going to select the frame. Then you come down to where we have export. Click plus for export, and then select whether PNG, JPEG, SVG or PDF, but then use PNG. Now this 1 times 2, 1.5, 2, 3, they determine the quality of your export. I recommend maybe 1.5, but don't make it too much. If not, it's going to be too heavy and it will cost you a lot of time to upload or download. So you can make it 1.5. You export design, you change the name of the design if you want, select where you want to export it to, then click save. That's it. If you check your computer, you have the export. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.